covered all the points very well. And also basically what lessons we do need to take. After all, as you know, the purpose of this whole discussion is to help us be successful people, is to help us achieve our goal. Although we did say last time, and Shubha also mentioned this time, that being famous, powerful, wealthy, which are usually considered to be the goals, they can be our goals, nothing wrong with them. Being a good person, being a successful person, is not opposed to being a wealthy person. We said primary value is to be a good person, but being a good person is not opposed to being a famous person. Being a good person is not opposed to being a wealthy person. Being a good or happy person is not opposed to being a powerful person. So these worldly accomplishments of wealth, fame, power, which are usually or normally considered by human beings as worthy goals, it is quite all right to have those things or work for them. Because perhaps they will give you some ego gratification. Being a famous person gives me ego gratification, my ego becomes gratified. Or being powerful and I can control many people. Being famous I can influence many people. Being wealthy I can get what I want. These are nice feelings. The freedom to do what I want or get what I want, buy what I want. Freedom to have an influence to get my work done. Freedom to have the power so I can control other people's behavior. This kind of desires the ego has, they are not worthy desires, by the way. Yes, by the way. But at that moment I will say, even if you have these desires, which are bound to have because we are all growing in a society which entertains these values and these are the desires everybody has, we find our own parents and then the elders, all of them entertaining and working for fulfilling these desires. So when we are born and raised in an environment where these things are all valued, it is natural that we have also imbibed these values. So it will not be right for me or anybody to tell you not to have those goals, because even if we give up those ambitions just because Swami is telling us, it will not leave you a happy person, will leave you a person with some kind of deprivation. You renounce your wealth. People have done that because the Guru said renounce. And I remember many years ago a woman came to our ashram in US. Some Guru said give her, she gave her everything and then became a beggar, became a pauper. Now you are at the mercy of other people. So no giving up should be done thoughtlessly. Don't give up your desires thoughtlessly. Don't give up your ambitions thoughtlessly. So we'll bring back that word of viveka, discernment, proper understanding. And at this stage in the life, it's very likely that you do not have a mature understanding. And so our mind, being what it is impacted and influenced by what we see around. Because all the important people in the world, the media, even people who we consider important, they all seem to value these things. Therefore, in case you have these ambitions, that you want to be a wealthy person, a famous person, a powerful person, and you adopt a career, an academic career, a professional career, and work to achieve those goals, is quite in order. But as Shobha in her summary pointed out, the secret of being happy is being a good person. It is true that wealth does give me happiness, and fame and power, they do give me happiness in terms of what we call ego gratification. So there is happiness. I can't say there is no happiness there. Except that there is a happiness which is not a long-lasting happiness. It is a temporary happiness. That when you get promotion, when you get recognition, does make you happy. The unfortunate thing about this kind of accomplishments is that, yes, getting recognition in the academic circle, recognition in the society, gaining promotions, gaining new contracts, gaining more business, gaining more income. What I want you to do is to observe these happenings. Observe your mind as to how the mind responds during these happenings or accomplishments. What I am saying right now is that whereas it is quite alright to have these accomplishments, at the same time, be aware of how our mind responds to these accomplishments. You generally find that in the beginning the mind is elated, very happy with one's own self. I congratulate myself for accomplishment. This is what we call ego gratification, which is quite all right. It's not a sin to have ego gratification. But continue to observe yourself. You are likely to find, I will not say it's a rule, you are likely to find that the impact that accomplishment had, that you got promotion, you got some recognition, something that made you happy, the impact that you have in terms of your happiness, you find it slowly starts wearing out. In the beginning, I'm happy. I'm Swami appointed CEO when I given Wonderful, congratulations, and enjoy it. Do enjoy your accomplishment. But what happens is, usually, since our enjoyment is dependent upon, let us say, an accomplishment, such as a promotion, such as income, such as recognition, if you are observant, then you will find slowly its effect starts wearing out. In economics, there is the simple law of diminishing return. The joy that the first rasgulla gives me is, elation, ecstasy. The second rasgulla gives me joy a little bit less. The third rasgulla, even little less. Depends upon your capacity, of course, but general capacity. There are people who can eat 50 rasgullas also. For them, this example, they have to go to 51 rasgullas. But this law of diminishing utility, rasgulla being the same, I who is enjoying rasgulla undergo the change, understand? Not rasgulla. Therefore, the impact that the rasgulla has on me, in terms of creating happiness in me, that impact wears out slowly. And if my capacity is to eat up to 7 rasgulla, suppose, then 8th rasgulla makes me miserable, doesn't make me happy. That, you see, you may be knowing in the hostels, on Sundays there is this feast. And then the children, they compete with each other. And somebody says, here is 1 rupee. Every rasgulla, after 25, you get 1 rupee. 27 rasgulla, 2 rupees. So people are happy. So 25 rasgullas and 26 rasgulla, 1 rupee, 2 rupees, 3 rupees. How long can you go? The 30 rasgulla, everything will come out, because there is not the rasgulla changes, but my capacity or my value. I have taken for granted that the rasgulla makes me happy, and therefore when I eat rasgulla it makes me happy. But then that value keeps on diminishing as more and more rasgullas are consumed. And the 10th rasgulla, that value is gone, doesn't make me happy anymore. This is called the law of diminishing return. Thus, every accomplishment in the world, whether it's wealth or fame or power or anything else, where the happiness or satisfaction that it gives me depends upon my value of wealth, money or power. But as I acquire them, if I observe myself, I will find that my own value, my own estimate, my own respect that I have for those things itself undergoes change. And the diminishing is that in course of time, the value that I had for them, the respect and regard that I had for those things, it starts wearing out. A time comes when I become completely free and I just get totally disillusioned. This is called disillusionment. Right now there is an illusion in my mind. The Rasagulla makes me happy. The 11th Rasagulla makes me disillusioned that no, that doesn't make me happy. You know what is disillusionment? We realize that what we thought was wrong. We realize that all along I was living my life or doing things based on wrong assumptions. But this should not be a painful experience that people get turned off from life. This is not what we want. We want you to understand this process, enjoy Rasagulla, recognizing that 7 is your capacity. So confine with 2 or 3 Rasagulla so that you don't get disillusioned by that. So in small bits, everything gives you happiness. Because your capacity to enjoy that continues, but if it goes beyond a certain point, you're the wealthiest person in the world, you get crazy. Then what do you want to do now? I want to acquire this, I want to acquire that, I want to acquire, so I want to be more powerful. Wealth creates now in my mind a desire to be well known, famous. That fame also creates desire to be powerful to control everything. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, I will not utter names, but these are, if you fellows are familiar with what's going on in the world, you know who is the wealthiest person right now in the world? Anybody knows? Anybody knows who is the wealthiest person? Elon Musk, right. Elon Musk. Do other people know Elon Musk? Heard his name? Okay. Very famous. And he has really, I have great respect for him for the contribution he has made to the world, no question about it, in terms of technology and so forth. But beyond a certain point, something happens. You can see how a person gets crazy. There is another crazy person right now we are observing. Do you know who he is? Do you know who is the other crazy person in the world who is displaying his craze and idiocy? You know who he is right now? Anand, who is he? Who is the other person who has become intoxicated by power and lost all sense of proportion? Who is he? It's not right to utter names, this is not the thing. But since, unless I utter name, you may not get it, that is why. Otherwise, I just describe, if you're all well informed people, I would not have to utter names. In case you are not, then you can see. In English it is said, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. By corruption means that you lose your sense of proportion, lose your viveka. From viveka is lost, and there comes Kamat Krodho Vijayate Krodha. There is a very famous verse in the BhagavadGita, 2nd chapter, 62-63 verses. Krodhat bhavati sammoha सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. Anger or greed, both are the same. They make you intoxicated. You get intoxicated by anger, intoxicated by greed. Greed can be for power, can be for wealth, for anything, fame. An intoxicated person does not see what is, he sees what is going on in his own mind, imaginary things. Because sammoha. Sammoha smriti vibhramaha. So now you are in your own world. So you lose touch with what is the reality. And you do things that are totally inimical to the reality. Quite opposed to what the reality is. So these extreme cases I am pointing out to you, these are very well known cases. Every case is like this, but these are well known cases. Meaning that it's always good that is I who enjoys wealth and not the wealth which enjoys me. It is I who enjoys power and not the power that enjoys me. It is I who enjoys fame and not fame enjoys me. And this applies to Rasagulla also, and anything and everything at every moment. What is important is that I am in control of myself, which means what is meant by my being in control of myself is that I use my free will, which is given to me, to make choices. As I said earlier, a human being is gifted by this faculty of choice of free will. And only so long I can be called a human being as long as I appropriately use my free will. As long as I control myself, control everything around me, meaning that as long as I retain my freedom of choice. Not Rasagulla that decides how many I eat. Not that there was a friend of mine when we were in college. He was a lover of certain films. He loved a certain actor, Dilip Kumar, those days. And the role he was playing in, what was that movie? This fellow would go to watch movie every week. Even when the exam was going on, there was a day off between exams, he would go to see that movie. So when something like that happens, there's nothing wrong in watching movie, understand? Nothing wrong in anything as long as an innocent pleasure. Where right or wrong comes to that I am doing it or I am being made to do. As long as I do things, then even if I make the mistake, I will recognize that I made a mistake because I did it. Meaning that I use my free will, and what is meant by free will is that in every situation I decide the pros and cons and make a choice which I think is right. I could be wrong in my judgment. The important thing is not being right or wrong. It has some importance, but the more important is that I willfully made a choice based on my present understanding. And we should have the humility to change the understanding. We should have humility that when I recognize from the outcome that the decision I made was not right, then I should have the humility to accept it. All right, I will change. So thus, when we act out of free will, then we can learn from the outcome. Otherwise, if Rasagulla is eating, meaning Rasagulla controls how many I eat, I can never learn from the outcome. But I am aware I am eating 5th rasgulla. This is my experience. 6th rasgulla, my experience. 7th rasgulla, my experience. Then I know that no more. Then I give up because I have chosen to do something. Very important is you choose. In every situation, what is meant by freedom is that I make a choice, and choice based on my understanding. We will come to also that point of how to make choices. Lord Krishna says, Karmanyevadi. You remember that verse, Karmanyevadhikaraste. Karmani eva adhikarahate. Karmani with reference to karma or action or effort. Te, you. Adhikara, choice, freedom. So you have the choice with reference to performing an action. Why does Lord Krishna have to say that to Arjuna? Every human being is given free will. That is what distinguishes a human being from other living beings. As best as we understand, all the creatures are controlled by their nature, whereas the human being has the freedom not to be controlled by anything, including the nature, including my mind, and I have the freedom, if I exercise it, to bring my understanding into play and make a choice based on my understanding. So Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, here Arjuna recognizes that you have the freedom in performing action. What's the big deal, Swami? Bhagavan, what is new? What new have you said? What new thing did Bhagavan say in saying to Arjuna that you have the freedom in making choice as far as your effort is concerned? What's the big deal? Is it something new? No. But then, the choice that Arjuna made, oh Lord, I will not fight the battle. Remember the story? In the midst of the battlefield, when it came time to do what was right thing to do for Arjuna, is to use a weapon to resist the forces of unrighteousness. Remember, we discussed earlier how Duryodhana stands for adharma or unrighteousness. And even though there are many people in the army of Duryodhana who are very righteous people, like Bhishma Pitama, like Dronacharya, many, only if Duryodhana is adharmi, unrighteous, how can you say all the Kauravas, they represent adharma? Because Duryodhana is the leader, and all those who sided with Duryodhana have a commitment to support Duryodhana. Understand? That's why they are there. It was Bhishma Pitamaha, Dronacharya, Karna, Jayadratha, etc. All millions of people. They sided with Duryodhana. Many of them did not agree with Duryodhana. Understand? If you study Mahabharata, you find that many people did not agree. Many people advised Duryodhana not to go ahead of this battle. Bhishma Pitama and many wise people advised him to give away the fair share to Pandavas. They all tried. Duryodhana refused. He was intoxicated with power. What are Pandavas? What are they? Wandering in the forest, what can they do to me? I have such a large army, I have all these Bhishma, Drona, Karna on my side. I am invincible. He was intoxicated by power, who? Duryodhana, and therefore he did not listen to the advice, the wise counsel of many people. And he decided to fight. Now, those fellows had the choice of not to side with Duryodhana, but they sided with. For whatever reason, we don't want to go into that. But the point is that, having known that Duryodhana was or he stood for wrong values, he was violating the basic code of conduct that is called dharma. And still they chose to side with Duryodhana, means that they are siding with the dharma. Doesn't matter who they are. So theoretical, ideally, Arjuna is here in the battlefield not to fight the battle, to resist the forces of adharma. Where Arjuna stands for dharma. Because Yudhishthira, the eldest of Pandavas, the leader of Pandavas, Yudhishthira is embodiment of dharma, and therefore all those who chose to support Yudhishthira chose to support dharma. Of course, Arjuna is one of them. So ideally, Arjuna represents the forces of dharma, and he is here to counter the force of adharma. If the choice is made with this understanding, it will be the right choice. Arjuna made a choice, of course. When he said, I will not fight the battle, that was his choice. But that choice was a result of not the right perception of the situation. I will not fight the battle was a choice, not based on the right perception of his own role. It was not a choice based on the right perception of the responsibility. It was a choice dictated by his emotions. Not that emotions are not important in our life, they are very important. But being emotional has a role in a given situation, and being firm has a role in a given other situation. BhagavadGita does not teach that you should not be an emotional person, that you should not have feelings. No. We don't want to make people inhuman. It should be a mature emotion. You should have a mature emotion. What it means is that Arjuna is a grandson, also is a nephew, also is an uncle, also is a friend, also is brother, so many things is. Each one of these can be an emotional role, or each one of these can be a role based on duty. When there is conflict between what is right, that's called duty. Dharma here means duty. Dharma has many meanings. Here, the immediate meaning of dharma is duty. And if your emotions, your feelings, they in some way detract you from dharma, from doing what is right, then those emotions should not be supported. Understand? Emotions are very valuable. We are emotional beings. It's a very valuable thing to be emotional. That you are a father, mother, a son, daughter, brother, sister is wonderful. That you feel those things. However, in a given situation, what the Bhagavad Gita teaches is doing what is right. Dharma, the word dharma or duty, can be generally or loosely translated here as doing what is right. But no, this is my brother, that is my sister, that is my father, that is my grandfather, how can I? No, that emotion tells you to do something that is contrary to what is right, then you have to stop. Meaning you have to take a break, take a pause. I'm not suggesting that you should reject your emotion, but take a pause. If emotion that I'm a son, or I'm father, brother, sister, uncle, grandson, friend, if that feeling in any way controls me and prevails upon me to do what is not right, oh, this is my brother, let him have this job, let him have this. So, because he's my brother, therefore he may have it. Or my sister, or my friend, or my whatever, X, Y, Z. Not that brother is a wrong fellow or not, he should not have it. That's not the point. But decision that this person should have this, is it based on the consideration that is my brother, or is it based on the consideration that is the right person? So whereas emotions are beautiful things to have, if emotions in some way or other prevail upon me and compel me to do something which is not right, then I have to take a pause. Consider that my emotion says that, hey, let him go, or let him have this. You are a police officer, customs officer. Your brother is traveling from the United States with big suitcases. As usual, they scan these bags and then they make you open them. Hey, chhod do, my brother. Or he is a passenger, he is a traveler. So how do I perceive myself? Do I perceive myself as brother, or do I perceive myself as customs officer? If I allow the perception of brother to control me, to overrule me, to influence me, and make me do something that is not right, what is right is to charge appropriate duty for whatever excesses are there, that's right. Chhod do, jane do, let him go. So here is the conflict with emotion and what is right. Emotion, what I like to do. Dharma, what is right to do. So in many situations, not all, many situations, This kind of conflict arises in our mind between what is right to do and what I like to do. So when I use the word emotion, I only meant in this sense that some feeling within me, some impulse within me prevails upon me and distracts me from my duty of what is right and tries to make me do what is not right to satisfy that emotion. That is a conflict that human being has. That's a conflict that Arjuna had. As we said, Arjuna is a case study. We would not have to and do not have to go through situations similar to Arjuna in terms of battlefield, etc. That is a tremendous challenge. We have small challenges. But the conflict that arises within ourselves between what is right and what I like, that conflict applies to every human being, including Lord Krishna. As long as Lord Krishna also is doing vyavahara, I am just quoting Lord Krishna, as I say, as to that Lord Krishna also, I am sure, was all the time going through this struggle in the mind. So this is a big struggle that the human being has to face all along. The rest of the living beings are spared from the struggle. They don't have conflict between what is right and what is like. What is like is what is right for them. So no conflict. If a cat makes mouse its breakfast, it is right. No conflict. Because that's how the nature is. But if a human being does something like that, it's a different thing. So Arjuna's case typically represents a conflict between what Arjuna liked and what was right for Arjuna. When we say Arjuna became emotional, the first verse of second chapter says, Tam tatha krupaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshanam. There were tears in the eyes of Arjuna. Such a courageous, great hero. He became emotional. Not that he should not, but in the wrong place. There were tears in his eyes. Krupaya Vishtam, emotions took over him. Emotion as Arjuna, as grandson, as father, as brother. They took over him. Vishidantam. And that emotion made him sad. Emotions don't have to make us sad. It made him sad, grieving. Vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. If you understand all these things, we can recognize where BhagavadGita comes from and what Lord Krishna is addressing. We are keeping this lesson to a very simple level. So what is the faculty of choice that we have? What distinguishes us as human beings from other living beings is the freedom to make the choice, freedom to choose what is right versus being controlled to do what I like. When I do what I like, it is not I who am choosing, it is my like that is choosing. Understand this. When Arjuna made the choice, I will not fight the battle, it was not his mind or his viveka, discernment, intellect that was ruling. It was this emotional thing. What he liked, his like and therefore dislike. You have spoken about likes and dislikes. The likes and dislikes are very evident here. When there is a like, there is a dislike also as a counterpart. It's like two sides of a coin. It's called pairs of opposites. Arjuna had a like, attachment for Bhishma, Drona, all the relatives, near and dear ones, for them, for their life, for their company. In that state of mind of Arjuna, this may change for Arjuna also. But in this particular state of mind in Arjuna, what attracted him or what controlled him was attachment, emotional dependence. What is attachment is? Emotional dependence upon his near and dear ones. What is meant by emotional dependence is, at that time, his conclusion that is what would make him happy. That's what would make him successful. Whatever his idea of success, happiness may have been, that was the right thing to do for him. Now, when you have that kind of attachment or like, then there is a counterpart called dislike. Then you dislike this battle. So I don't want to fight. Means what? There is a dislike for fighting. His decision of not fighting need not be wrong. I mean, there is no rule that you have to fight or not fight. There is no rule. Rule is doing what you think is right. When Arjuna said, I will not fight the battle, it is this like for Bhishma, his relatives, near and dear ones, and his perceived happiness coming from their association and from their warmth, a like for them, attachment for them, created. Now whatever becomes an obstacle to fulfilling that like becomes object of dislike. Fighting this battle is an obstacle to his enjoying the warmth and feeling of Bhishma, Drona and all these near and dear ones. This battle means that they will all die, he'll be deprived of the happiness coming from that relationship. And at that moment his mind attaches a greater importance to that. I want that. His mind thought of many arguments as to why he should not fight this battle. Oh Lord Krishna, you yourself tell me. How can I fight with these people? How can I shoot arrows at them? How can I shower arrows at them? I should be showering flowers at them. He's not wrong, but not in this condition. It's a wrong placed emotion. And therefore, he was so much overcome by this like, attachment, emotion for the warmth and happiness that would come from Bhishma, Drona and all his other near and dear ones. He was so overwhelmed by that anything that would come in the way, like fighting this battle, would come in the way of his having them, enjoying their company, their warmth. So stronger the attachment, stronger the dislike. This shows a strong like or attachment Arjuna had for his relatives and kith and kin, that created a strong aversion for the battle, which would deprive him of the perceived happiness he would get from this people. And that like and dislike, in Sanskrit, raga dvesha, attachment, aversion, they were ruling Arjuna's mind at that time. And naturally, they clouded his faculty of judgment, deluded his faculty of judgment. What is meant by delusion is looking at it, what is wrong, to think it is right, and what is right, to think it is wrong. This is called delusion or moha in Sanskrit. Let me explain the word delusion because the word can have many connotations. But here moha is translated as delusion. What is meant by, in that state of mind called the state of delusion, what is wrong appears as right, what is right appears as wrong. For Arjuna, to fight the battle is right, that appears to him as wrong. And to give up his duty is wrong, that appears to him as right. So is moha or delusion a technical term? People not understanding the meaning of this word have created great confusion by using word delusion, etc., and the whole world is delusion, etc., because they go by English translation and whatever those words mean in general. But you should understand, we need not use the word delusion if you understand the word moha, that's all. Moha also you should understand aviveka. Moha also has different meanings. Then we will have time to, understand these words better. So conflict in the mind of Arjuna is between what he likes and what is right. What is right is to play his role. We've been talking about playing the role. We talked about Lord Rama, we talked to the Prime Minister also, that your certain identity, your certain place in the scheme of things, you're a part of a family, part of neighborhood, part of society, part of the country, part of profession, part of a setup. We are part of so many setup. Home is a setup, society is a setup, workplace is a setup, marketplace is a setup. They're set up. From morning till evening, we go through a variety of these situations of setup. In each one of them, we have a unique place. At home, I am a son. When I go to my place of work, then I am a manager. When I go to a temple, I am a devotee. You can't go to temple as a manager. You cannot go to your workplace as a son. You cannot come home as a manager, That happens to people is a different thing. how ability to swiftly change respond to a role. That is what is expected out of us. We are talking about this, how difficult it is. Like that actor playing the role of a beggar, and he left home out of anger. Anger is still ruling his mind. Even when he's playing the role of beggar, he is still an angry person. He just reacts out of anger, and the script is completely sacrificed. He does what is wrong, not what is right. Example. So being a human being is a challenging. Is a challenge. And if you don't understand the whole setup, we are miserable. Human being is a miserable creature. We doesn't understand its basics. Unhappiness in life is not because there is reason for unhappiness or sorrow. It is the lack of proper understanding, which is the whole purpose of all our discussions. That right understanding, the right action taken from right understanding makes us happy. Wrong understanding to the wrong action will make us unhappy. So this is a situation that every human being has to go through almost every moment. This alertness is important. Self-awareness is important. The awareness of my identity is important. Awareness of my role is important. Awareness of my duty is important. Awareness of what is right is important. And doing what is right. Now, having understood what is right, then there's a second step is to do what is right also. That's also not easy. Swami, I am customs officer, my brother is passing through and he used to pay 100,000 rupees, so what is right? Then you have to be firm, hey, you have to pay 100,000 rupees. Hey, who are you? I am your brother, so what? I am not your brother, I am customs officer. So, number one, to arrive at the understanding of what is right, and then the strength and the courage to do what is right. Both are important. People very often know what is right. They don't do it, are not able to do, because of the lack of courage, lack of conviction, lack of strength. So thus, living life simply of dharma help us grow in all these dimensions. Just a commitment to do what is right requires understanding of what is right, requires awareness of who I am, what is my role, what is right, what's the script, what is to be done, and the skill to do, the courage to do. Oh, but Swami, this may cause these consequences. Then the willingness to face the consequences. We'll discuss these things as we go along. But this is the typical case of Arjuna that teaches all these various dimensions of our life. And what we seek to do in this discussion is to help you understand all these dimensions that are involved, understanding them, recognizing placing the understanding in the right perspective, applying in the situation, doing things, and being happy and successful. This is the only way of being a happy person, no other way, no shortcut. For everything else can be shortcut. There is no shortcut for being happy, and no shortcut for being successful. Happy and successful are the same thing. So this is the Art of science of happiness. That's what Vedanta is. That's what we're discussing. So with that we'll conclude this morning. And now this is a long break. We are going to be away from India for nearly 4 months. And so our next meeting is likely to be sometime in September. We will let you know. Maybe first week of September. But we will let you know. And Shiti, were you here all the time or did you join late? She was here all the time? Good.
Yeah, I was here. I just my video was on for like.
Shubhali? Okay, alright. Good. So, Shruti, next time when we meet, say in the first week of September, how about you summarizing the discussion today? Today's discussion. Very good. Very nice, Shruti, very nice. Very happy to see all of you and hope to see all of you again when we meet. The date will let you know in September. I don't know right now, but that's how it's likely to be. All of you enjoy your summer and everything else. Be happy. Also, most of you are making notes, I know. So do continue to refer to them so that you don't forget these things. And only when we remember these things that they can be useful to us. Pustaka sthatuya vidya parahastagatam dhanam kayikale samutpanne nasa vidyana tad dhanam. This is a very famous saying in Sanskrit. The knowledge that is confined to books, then the money that is in the bank, not useful when you need them. So knowledge should be in the mind and money should be in pocket. Those days I'm talking about. So keep this in mind, then only it can be useful. And so I'm sure with all of this you'll be able to put this into practice to whatever extent you can. And we like to hear your experiences of what you have learned so far. Good luck to all of you, and we'll see you in September. Om. Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om.